But if you ever really want to really be successful, you got to be able to teach, man. If you can't teach, you're never going to be successful. And that's the number one. That's the number one rule to the game, is you cannot do it by yourself. And if you think you can, good job. You'll make a couple thousands here and there, but that's all you're going to reach. At one point, you're going to be tapped out. All these successful people, they have a hierarchy of people underneath them, and underneath them. And that's what you have to build. The name of the game is you got to build your hierarchy, right? And by building a hierarchy chart or organizational chart, wherever you may be in your business or whatnot, that's the key. Because the minute you start putting these layers of individuals that manage another set of individuals, that's when you become successful.
Welcome back to another episode of High Value Discussions. I am your host, Daniel Gonzalez. And in this episode, we have an incredible guest joining us. He is a man of many hats. He is an entrepreneur, a business leader, and a family man who's found a way to excel in everything that he does. My guest is the CEO of the media company Unique Frames. He's built a company that doesn't just take photos and videos, it captures stories, emotions, and experiences. He's a true leader in the media space, making sure each project stands out with quality and creativity. On top of that, he is also a district manager for Shoe Palace, where he's leading teams, driving success, and impacting the retail industry on a large scale. But the most important thing, he balances all of this while being a dedicated husband and a father of 3. He is living proof that you can grow a successful business, grow in your career, and still put your family first. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Thomas Nichols.
Number one in the game is a lot of people have greed and selfishness, right? And some are and some don't. And what happens is that, like, others don't want to see you succeed. And when you say others, it'd be even your closest friends, your family. It'd be the ones closest to you that just it's a little different, right? But like when you step back and you look at this, it's like that's just the nature of the game, right? And it's everyone's trying to reach success, right? But it takes that certain presence and that drive that's going to separate you from the rest. Everyone has ideas in their mind. Everyone has aspirations, right? But they just don't know how to navigate through certain barriers. And honestly, it's taking it by the horns and just going all in and really investing in that and stepping back, looking at your room and your studio in here, bro. And I can obviously tell too, you put a lot of hard work and dedication to what you have here, and that takes drive and dedication, and it's a routine, and you got to really build a routine of discipline. And by doing that, it comes from that, right? So, but yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. First of all, my name's Thomas Nichols, and I'm excited. So whatever you got for me, Daniel, let me know, man. I'm ready to dive in this.
You know what, my man? Speaking of that, the first topic that you brought up was people like to keep things to themselves. The real winners want other people to win as well. You know what I mean? When I first met you, I met you about a little over a month ago, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, I am very, very big on leaving a specific mark on people.
Yeah.
Everybody that you meet. And right away with you, I knew you were way more experienced than me when it comes to the media game. But you did not hold back. You literally put me to the side and gave me game right away. You did not hesitate. You did not stop. You were just like, oh, I see this guy. He's grinding. He's hustling. But let me give him some value, because we both knew that I was not as experienced as you were. And me, I knew that as well. It was because of the aura. And what did I do? I shut up and I listened.
Yeah.
But you, bro, you left a really good mark on me because you passed on game right away. And a lot of people like to hold it in, and you did not.
That's one of the things, it's kind of touch on one of the touching points you said there was like, hey, you shut up and listen, right? I come from a background of having to learn how to get it. And then I got, obviously blessed at a young age to be, obviously I own my own business today, but I also work for a company that's very successful, and I've been there for 20 plus years, and I'm still there. Yeah. So be able to run a close to soon to be $1 billion company, Well, we are kind of a billion-dollar company if you think about it, because they've got acquired by, big time people and whatnot. But to be in that room, but just to kind of go back on that is like I have people that I have that are my inspirations, people that I look up to, my mentors, right? And one of the biggest lessons I learned at a young age is you got to shut up and listen when you got important people in the room that you want to be like. Because if you're speaking and if you're speaking when they're speaking, you can't listen. You can't do two things at one time, and you can't soak up the game. So like I was able to learn, and I was taught the game at a young age, and it was like, hey, your brain needs to be like a sponge, and that resonated with me. It's like your brain needs to be like a sponge, and you need to absorb what you're listening, and not only do you absorb it, you need to apply it. Anybody can listen, but if you can't apply what you're being taught, you can't go nowhere, and you can't be scared to try new things and apply it. It may work for you, it may not work for you, right? Everybody adapts differently. Everybody learns differently, right? So you got to soak up game. And I was able to learn, game at a young age from different individuals. And I was like, okay. I got a little bit of this person. I got a little bit of that person. Let me try to put this in my sauce, right? And then you find it up and you get and you're able to figure out what works for you. And I was able to get that at a young age, which I'm very fortunate for. I had to be, I had to learn how to swim young, I would say. So it's cool, man. But like you said, you got to shut up and listen. And when you said is like giving you game was like, I like to be different. I know what it was to break down barriers, and not everybody wants to see you succeed, but then there are those that want to see you succeed, and they invest in you, right? Yeah. So I'm that type of person. It's just me. I'm a giver, man, and I'm a giver, but I'm also a grinder. Grinder first. I grind hard. I grind hard for my family. I grind hard for myself, and I grind hard for success.
Yes.
And success doesn't have a stopping point, right? It doesn't understand time, right? Time is of an essence, right? And if you want to reach success, you got to be willing to sacrifice your time. And that's one of the things I tell my wife. We have 3 beautiful kids. My wife, Christy, who's been by my side since day one. She's been the backbone to my support, and she's definitely a huge support in everything that I do. Was time. It's me sacrificing the time away from my family, away from my kids, away from the precious moments, to make sure that we're where we need to be. And today we step back and we're where exactly we need to be, and we're not even where we want to be. Yeah. And I resonate on that. Is that like a tip note for anybody out there that wants to be successful? If you really want something and you want to be successful, in the beginning stages, you're gonna have to sacrifice your time. And sacrificing your time may not even be for income. Obviously, we sacrifice for dollars and gain, right? And that's the root of the game, right? Is we grind for paper, right? Yeah. And you got to be willing to sacrifice and go all in pro bono. Yeah. Those of you who don't know what pro bono means, that means for free, right? And you got to be willing to put it in for free. So if it's taking the backseat on other things, I'll kind of learn the game. Cool, you're not getting paid for it, but guess what? You're getting paid in other ways, and that's knowledge. And knowledge is power, man. So, yes. and that's the number one. That's the number one thing for me is sacrifice.
It never ends.
It never ends.
You're always, every time you reach another layer of success, there's like, there's something that needs to be sacrificed.
For sure.
It never ends though, right?
But if you ever really want to really be successful, you got to be able to teach, man. If you can't teach, you're never going to be successful. And that's the number one rule to the game, is you cannot do it by yourself. Yeah. And if you think you can, good job. You'll make a couple thousands here and there, but that's all you're going to reach. At one point, you're going to be tapped out. Yeah. All these successful people, they have a hierarchy of people underneath them, and underneath them. Yeah. And that's what you have to build. The name of the game is you got to build your hierarchy, right? And by building a hierarchy chart or organizational chart, wherever you may be in your business or whatnot, that's the key. Because the minute you start putting these layers of individuals that manage another set of individuals, that's when you become successful. Yeah. And that's when you can step away, because you have enough confidence in the people that you've invested, you coached, you trained, you developed, that you could step away from the game and you'd be like, okay, cool. The business is now running with me not being in it. Yeah. And that was a huge a breaking point for me. Was I'm very much hands in. I'm very much involved. I love to be the creator, the director, the shooter, whatever you name it, man. I'll play any position that the game requires, right? Like this chessboard in front of me. I'll be the pawn, I'll be the rook, I'll be the knight, I'll be whatever you want, right? Because you gotta learn. I'll tell you straight up, I started as a pawn, right?
Yeah.
I started as a pawn and grew to the next role and the next role. And in life, that's what you have to understand is there's positions in this game. But again, sacrifice and time, but you got to be able to coach, teach, and develop. And like for example, this past weekend, just talk about an example. It's a good feeling when you have people that work with you and work for you, is when you could be able to obviously support their dreams, right, and put paper in their pocket, right, and put money in their hands, right. At the end of the day, people are going to be there for you left and right, but they're there for one reason. They want to get a paycheck. And you have to understand that, and you can't be selfish or greedy, you got 100% of the pie. You want to take 100% solo on your shoulders, that's fine, but you're going to struggle. The stress, the overwhelming of being stretched too thin, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to have a army of individuals that are willing and ready to work.
Yeah.
But you also have to be very picky at who you allow into your circle in the beginning stages. And you're going to run through them left and right. You're going to come, try it, whatnot. You're going to have to go through, you're going to have to shuffle a couple decks, right?
Yeah,
and you learn that. And I've done that in my past experiences of cycling certain individuals. It just didn't work out and cost me money, but it is what it is. It's a learning curve. But when you get those right individuals that are hungry, you motivate them and they motivate you, you got to build them and you got to support them. And, this past weekend, my wife, my kids, we took off a little trip to Disneyland. Took my kids out on our little annual Halloween trip, right? And being gone in LA for 3 days, if you don't have a team, you can't continue to do business. Yeah. And being gone in those 3 days, business was still running. Operated 3 photo booths this past weekend, 2 balloon setups a weekend. And, just in general, like that's 5 events in a weekend. I'm not even there present. Yeah. And you can't do that by yourself. And that's why you have to have a team, right? You have to have the right individuals that understand your value, your vision, and that can continue to deliver what your results are. I'm very, very picky. Very, very picky. I'm very much hands in, and I got to kind of learn how to take the backseat, but I'm very picky because at the end of the day, you have to be. It's your name. It's your name. People hire you for the work that you deliver, and you can't go half-ass. Yeah. If you half-ass it, you're never going to get the return.
Do you think that's a problem? Because for me, I always get told that a lot, where Daniel, being too picky is a very big liability for you long term. And I'm like, I don't know if it almost feels like I'm lowering my standards if I'm not picky.
You have to be picky, but at the end of the day, you have to also understand that everyone's not going to be like you, and everyone's not going to be as passionate as you. And no matter how many hard workers or dedicated individuals that I have that come in and out of the business, it's not theirs. So at the end of the day, when let's say we hire some freelancers that come help out on an event or a wedding or whatnot, whatever event it may be, it's all high and dandy. They show up for the day, make good money, they shoot, obviously stretch them, pretty far, and we shoot and we make it happen. But at the end of the day, they go home, they get their check and they get their payment, and it's still on your shoulders to deliver. So you can't just assume everything's gonna be great, because at the end of the day, it's in and out for them, but it's not in and out for you. You have to continue to build your business, and you have to make sure that you're invested all in, because you have to be picky. It's your name. Mm-hmm. And if you're not as picky, you're going to sink, and you have to be. So you can't be, but you also understand that you're not going to get it you're not always going to get the ace in the deck, and you have to understand that. And some people want the ace in the deck right away. Yeah. And that's fine, but I learned the game young, man. I learned how to teach people how to sell. I'm a salesman first. My career is Shoe Palace. My business is Unique Frame, and Shoe Palace taught me the game. I'm very fortunate for Shoe Palace, because still to this day, I'm still constantly coaching, teaching, and training. I run a staff of over 200 people. That's managers, assistant managers, floor leads. I mean, you name it. I still. And that's now, I've been in the company now 20 years, and that's now where I run the entire distribution center. But prior to that, I was in the retail side. 15 years old, started with Shoe Palace and started selling shoes, and became the sales trainer, and then became the store opener, where I was basically building the stores. We would open up as we grew and we went to the next level, um, I would hit the next city and we'd be like, hey, we're taking off. I was like, all right, next city. All we had was a store manager.
Yeah.
I would hit the ground running. Me and the owner, one of the brothers, we would hit the mall and I would walk around the food court and just recruit employees. I would hire 10, 15 employees. Boom, your first day's on Monday, 53 footers in the back, and we can get it loaded up. And then once you teach them how to do the stock room, you have to teach them how to sell shoes. You got to teach them how to grind, and then off and do the next one. I did that for 80 stores, man. And the success of Shoe Palace was definitely being in the trenches, you know, and taking it to that next level. And that taught me something. Is like, I know how to coach. I know how to teach. I know how to deliver. And I'm like, I need to institute this in my own life.
I always talk about this too, man, using that 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like the things that you learn from that, you take it into your own ventures. So being in part of that company for 20 plus years, what are some of the biggest concepts that you took and then you put it into your personal ventures?
It's crazy, man, because I live and bleed Shoe Palace, right? Like the ownership, the brothers, they're brothers to me, man. And that's the only thing that when they really say it's family, I really take it as family. I could take away, man. I had so many opportunities thrown in my direction as I had success. And I'm talking big opportunities, you know, that, you know, when you're valued and you're good at what you do, people want that, right? But when you're also treated like family, you know, loyalty is everything to me, right? And when these people have been loyal to me, I got to be loyal to them. And they taught me the game. You know what I mean? I'm forever grateful for that. They taught me the knowledge, man. I'm talking, they broke me down and built me up. But they didn't, I would say they taught me, but it was really, they showed me. I had to step back and analyze, absorb, and apply, right?
Yeah.
We got to teach yourself, you know, you have to teach yourself and get it rolling. But, you learn it and you got to apply it. And that was one of the biggest things for me was, stepping back and being grateful for that. And having the 9 to 5 to support my business today was great. It was not only supporting the business, cause the 9 to 5, yeah, I supported it, but I don't want to look at the 9 to 5 that is it supports my business, because then it's kind of Achilles heel. It's a crutch. Not that it's a bad thing, but I don't want my 9 to 5 to support my business. My business has to support itself. And it has to sustain on its own. And if you want that to be successful, you have to build it from the foundation of its own root. Yeah. And that's key. Having the 9 to 5 prior to, that's where my business, let's just get to where my business started. I'm going to just kind of give you guys a little rundown on that. My business has been open now 7 years, going on 7 years now. And like I said, prior to operating the DC, I was in the retail side, opening stores, city to city, state to state. I mean, you name it, weeks on time, Texas, Arizona, Vegas, Colorado, you name it, man. I was out there and I touched all those cities and markets. And I probably over the course of my 20 years, I probably hired thousands of people and trained a couple hundreds, I wouldn't say 100,000, but probably 100,000 people. You say Thomas T. Raw, they're going to know who that is. And I keep it really close with some of these people, whether they work for us today or not, and they've branched off and had success. I've always kept it cool because people work for people and they never forget the people that invested in them. But doing that in the retail side, retail's a different beast, and retail groomed me, man. Retail taught me the game, taught me the hustle, taught me how to, like, it was just, you cannot have no 1 ounce of shyness. You got to have confidence. You have to go all in. You have to talk to people you don't know. You have to, that goes out the window. You just got to take it and run with it. Right. And that taught me that. And when I got promoted to run the distribution center 7 years ago, that retail life went behind me. And that retail life is very brutal, man. It's aggressive. It's time consuming. 2 phones, managing district managers and area managers and getting calls, coming home. The business don't stop when your retail operations from 8 to 9 and 9:30, 10 o'clock. You got a manager calling you. You're stepping away for dinner. 2 phones blowing them up left and right. And that was good. I was addicted to that. Man. I loved it. It was a part of me. And when I became the the operations DC's manager over there at this facility of Shoe Palace. It was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And I went into the Shoe Palace DC and I had to take that challenge. And we got to a point where we're getting so big that we weren't processing containers fast enough. And the ownership said, hey, you need to come run the distribution center. I said, I ain't no warehouse worker, man. I'm sales. And he's like, listen, you don't understand. This is where the business is at. And I said, like I said, I ain't no warehouse worker, but let's talk, And I was about to have my first child, my wife and my wife's pregnant. And I was like, okay, maybe this might be good for me, right? And I took the opportunity, and it was a big challenge. And I had over 100 employees that I was going to be responsible for, just all at once, Yeah. And really had to take that, and I took it, and I took the game and analyzed it for the first 3 months. Stepped back, looked at how the operation was running, and shook it up and changed the transition of what we did, and it was successful. But in that course, it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I was like, first weekend off, I was like, this don't feel right. I was like, this don't feel right. I don't got no phone calls coming in. Ain't worried about retail. Like, I'm like, man, this is life, right? Like, I got a life. And I've always had an itch for photography. So back in high school, I took film, and I was like, you know what? My wife bought me, and this is like, honestly, like, it's like a humble beginning, because you think about it. And my wife always knew I loved photography. I always took photos. I was always taking pictures. I was always, even when we would open up stores, I was doing little bit things here and there. Never did I think my business would be what it is today. And it's crazy, because we step back today and we look at it, and wow, it's crazy. I'm blessed. And my first camera that I've owned that my wife bought me was a Sony A6000, and it was the combo kit, right? So you have the 50 to 100 lens, and you got the other whatever lens. Those are some basic lenses, right? But it worked. It's A6000. Sony was good. Probably $600 kit. The whole camera all was $600. But back at the time, not at the time, because I was already making great money with Shoe Palace. Not that I needed the business to be successful. I was already successful with Shoe Palace, making well over what I needed to make that was comfortable, right? That at a young age, very blessed. And I'm like, this is basically going to start as a hobby. Yeah. And my wife bought me a $600 camera and a Christmas present. And I took that camera, and I'm like, damn, I want to start taking pictures. I didn't have any clientele, didn't have no portfolio, didn't have nothing. And this is what we talked about earlier, is having to sacrifice time, right? And not doing it for a payment, right? So I started taking pictures, man. So family, friends, whatever, just offering free photo shoots. I knew I needed to build a portfolio, and I knew I needed to get some content. And content back then wasn't as aggressive and brutal as it is today, where you need the content to survive, right? You need the content. Like, how fast can you push content today, right? It wasn't like that. But I know I needed to get some showings. Like, okay, I got a portfolio. This is my work, whatever. And I started offering free photos, man. And I did family photo shoots and X, Y, and Z. And started off I think my photo sessions back then were like free. It started at free. And then they rised up to like $150 for the hour, right? 1 hour photo shoot, 30-minute minis were like $75, I think, at the time. And it built. And one thing is that when you look at the journey of success, right, is you can have the $150 hour photo shoot. You can have the $75 minis, right? But I'm a people person. I coach, teach, train, I adapt, and I know how to build. So I know how to build relationships, and that's number one. And this is another keynote for anybody who wants to be successful. Pay attention to this one, right? Your net worth is your network. If you don't network well, you'll never have a well worth of what you need. So you need to network very well to be successful and wealthy, because the more you network, the more your net worth is going to grow. And you have return clients. I have a highly large list of individuals that are constantly calling me. I mean, right before I stepped into this podcast, I had 2 phone calls of clients that are, hey, I need you for November 9th, or hey, I need you for October 25th. And I'm like, done. I just say done. We don't even got to talk details. They just say, hey, are you available? Yeah, I'll put you in the calendar. We'll talk details later. Because it's already you've already earned their trust and you've earned their respect by what you deliver. They already know, hey, are you available? And I could do it all, from photography, videography, whatever you need, we do it, right? And but that's number one, right? You got to build your network. But doing that at a young age, not a young age, but at a young time of like, okay, I got to build my clientele. Start off with the A6000, right? And I built enough clients where I had enough photos, and I'm like, okay, I got to take this to the next game. I got to get better lenses. Got to get the 85 prime. Got to get the 7200 G Master. Got to get the 24 to 70. Okay, you know, and you start learning, and you come to find out that holy shit, this is expensive.
Yeah.
Like anybody who wants to be in the film industry, the photography industry, be ready to sacrifice the first couple of events, because it's gonna cost them. It's gonna cost them bread. You know, today, not to brag, but I mean, I'm not selfish or greedy, and I definitely want to put real game out there for people who want to be successful. Is you know, I got well over $150,000 worth of camera equipment today, and what paid for that was that $600 camera that my wife bought me, and that's crazy. And it's like, well, how did that $600 camera pay for your $150,000 camera gear today? Yeah. Well, that $600 camera got me clients that started booking photo shoots, that started building. And every single one of the shoots that I got, I took that money, I stashed it. Took that money, stashed it. Got to a point where I needed to grow so fast that I even sold the $600 camera, which I never did. I probably would have framed it today. Anybody who got that camera out there today, you want to sell it back to me, I'll give you $2,000 for it. You know what I mean? $2,000 today, I write you a check, let's go and do that camera back. But I put it on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, and I sold it. Dang. And my wife was like, why are you going to sell it? I bought you that camera. I'm like, babe, I need to sell it. Stop. But I bought it for you. I'm like, I understand, but I need to buy a new one. I need to take that money and buy a new one. And I did, and I sold it. And I took that money, I put it to the A7 III that, you know, I needed to grab. That was the next camera best up there. Now you're on the A7 IV, you're on the AR5, whatever it may be. But it took me there, right? Yeah. And it got me there, and it took that to the next level. And then I was like, okay, I jumped into video. I'm like, all right, I need A7S II. Back then, I was like, about two of them. Yeah. Back at the time, it was like $2,300 cameras, just the body. Crazy, two of them. Right? And I'm like, all right, I need an A7S III. Okay, I need an FX30. Okay, like you just build, right? And I was able to work with a lot of good individuals that were freelance photographers and videographers, and they came with a pack of what they had, which was good because you also pay someone not only for the time, but you pay for what they got. You want to go rent the gear, or you have someone who has a good arson, you know, and they got a good pack of what they come with, and it's like, cool, you're also paying for that too, and that's value, right? So any of you that have value that want to be great, step your game up on your gear, because that's another selling point for yourself where you make more. Yeah. Right, you come with good stuff, you're gonna get paid good stuff. You know,
man, don't look at the cost, look at the investment.
For sure.
You know, it's not, and I feel like that's why it's so easy for us to see equipment and be like, okay, what is this gonna do for me? Let me do some research on this. I'm like, ooh, I like what this does. Let's get it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You have to be. You have to invest. You got to be able to invest in yourself. I'm telling you, man. Two of the biggest things, though, is going back to what I said. The business has to stand on its own. I have Shoe Palace in my career, and that's this side. And then I have Unique Frame, and that's this side. I don't cross them. What comes in from Unique Frame is Unique Frame. What comes into Shoe Palace is Shoe Palace. Yeah. This business has to be able to build on its own. Yeah. So I never took whatever I needed to build what I needed to go here. In the beginning, I did, and I realized I can't do that. Yeah. This business has to be able to sustain on its own. The money that you make within the business has to go back into the business, and you have to be able to invest. I'm telling you, there's times I've done got. Started off with, I told you my minis were $75. I got clients that pay me $20,000, $30,000 in a day from events.
It's crazy, right?
And it was eye-opening for me when I got that first client that cut me a $20,000 check. $20,000 check in one day. I was like, holy shit. It's like $20,000 in one day. Now, I don't take the whole 20. Yeah. You got to have people that work with you, you know, maybe 60%, maybe 70%, you know, but still.
The fact that
when you were able to get that and you were like, that's one of how many millions of clients in this world that you could get after. But you couldn't have gotten that client if you don't have the quality of equipment or the quality of tools or whatever it is that you need to get there, right? And you got to be able to invest in yourself. There's a couple of good like highlight points in my journey of success that I got. There was a time I was doing a photo shoot at the Rose Garden, and I remember this vividly because it was like, damn, that was like, I want to get there. I was doing a photo shoot at the Rose Garden, and I just picked up my A7 III, right? And I got my new camera. I'm juiced. I was happy. I was like just motivated, shooting, right? And had like three photo shoots set up that day. And there happened to be a wedding taking place at the Rose Garden, and I'm very observant. Especially another tip for anybody who's a photographer, videographer, you need to be observant. You got your head got to be on a swivel, because if you're carrying high quality camera equipment, you're a high target for commodity of theft. So you still got to be aware wherever you're at. Check your surroundings. You know, that's always numero uno. But that's also just me being in general, coming up from the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also got a rough background, so I come up from the trenches. You know, and that helped me be who I am. But I'm in the Rose Garden. I'm shooting these photos, and I see this camera crew, and there's like 3-4 shooters on videography, and I'm just peeping out their gear. The dude had 2 Ronins gimbals, had A7. I don't know if it was A7 III or A7S III or whatever it was on the gimbals, or it probably at the time A7S2s, but there's like just 2 setups, 2 Ronins, 2 gimbals, 2 screens. I'm like, another guy had a camera on his hip. I'm like, damn, and I was just getting jaw dropped over the Ronins. At the time, I didn't even have a gimbal. I was barely jumping in the video. And I'm like, man, I looked at that and my eyes open. I'm like, I want to be there. And I'm like, okay, you know, those gimbals are probably $600-700 at the time, right? And you're looking at that, there's 2 of them, cameras, probably $1,000-1,500 cameras on there. I'm like, that's like a nice little $7,000 setup. I'm like, I want to be there. So I, you know, fast forward a year from there, a year and a half, I got 3 gimbals, 4 cameras. Like it's you. And there was a time I was doing a wedding now, and I'm tapped into the video market game, videography game. I'm doing wedding videos, and I step back and I'm like, baby steps, right? You got to look at the step in front of you. You can't look at the staircase, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I've read in the past, was you got to take a step at a time. Everyone wants to just dive in and they want boom, but there's a journey. And even when you get to that top step that you want to reach, there's even another climb of stairs that you got to get to. You can't get comfortable being at the top. You know, I'm very successful today, but I'm still not where I want to be. Yeah. And but it's baby steps, right? And you got to look at it, but you got to have some motivation. So that looking at that motivated me. And I was like, okay, I got to dive in. So I knew that every single opportunity that I got in front of me, I cashed right back in. I didn't even touch it. The minute I cashed it, it went back in someone else's bank, went into another company's pockets. And I'm like, okay, I need to invest. I need that. And as I got these shooters, and you know, I'm very grateful for these people that jumped on my journey, that obviously collaborated with me, or still currently working with me, that are in there, because they also taught me the game. Not only as I didn't go to college or anything, not even in my own career. I didn't need college, right? I didn't take no film class or videography class. I learned on the go. I'm very hands-on learner. I learned how to go, but I got smart. And what I did was I hired people that were great at what they did. And I hired them, and little did they know that they were teaching me the game on my dollar. You know what I mean? So I taught them, and I'm like, how do you do this? I said, and I'm just watching. I'm like, cool. Not only are you getting paid to deliver some quality content, you're teaching me the game and you're showing me the ropes, and now I get it. And not only that, like, I'm also teaching them too. I'm teaching them how to be outgoing. I'm teaching them how to be confident. I'm boosting people's confidence. A lot of people don't have confidence, and that's what a lot of people lack in today's day and age, is they stutter. They get hesitant on what they want to do. Eye contact. They start looking away, and it's like, put me in a room in front of 100 people, I'm going to own the room. Put me in a room for CEOs and executives, I'm going to own that room. At the end of the day, I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what position you have. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. Yeah. You put me in a room full of sharks, I'm going to swim. Yeah. And I want to be in those rooms. I want to be with those people. I want to take it to the next level. And I learned that because at the end of the day, that was confidence for me, was boosting my confidence in my own business taught me something else. Today, my business today brings me more money than I make at my current 9-to-5 being invested all in. And I could leave my company if I wanted to, but I don't, because I'm loyal. Yeah. And it's this company is building on its own, and it's building with people that I don't have to be present on some of the events that are going on. And it's just now and that's how you have to start. But in the beginning, you were all in. I was the film director. I was the editor. I was a creator. I was the web host. I was the planner. I was, you name it, man. I was everything. And a really good friend of mine who's very successful too, which I want to introduce to you one time once we get out of this podcast.
Please do.
He has his own little podcast too, but really good friend of mine, Enrique. You know, I know you're going to see this, but shout out to you, bros, because you put me some game too. You know, my buddy, him and his buddy own their own brokerage. It's called PRG Real Estate. And back at the time before I was going to transition into the DC and I was running that retail life, I was also doing real estate. So my buddy got me into the real estate game. I wanted to do real estate, and I was in Enrique's branch. I was running my operation on the retail side, and I was still doing deals of real estate on the real estate side. And he's like, bro, you're just a hustler, bro. He's like, you're a salesman, and I that's what I am. Yeah. But we became really close, you know. And Enrique was so willing to invest in me because he knew what the opportunity I had was. He was like, bro, I don't even pay people to learn, but I'm willing to put you on the team. And I was like, bro, first of all, I appreciate that. Like, thank you, but I can't. Yeah. You know, I got this opportunity in front of me to run the DC, and I jumped on that. And we parted away with, you know, jumping in his office. But he taught me a lot. You know, he taught me the game. He taught me knowledge, taught me discipline, taught me coaching, taught me this is a whole different avenue of sales. And you're talking real estate, you know, $1 million listings and, you know, whatnot, and being a part of that, open houses and being around that circle of people kind of elevated your game, and it elevated my game and built me confidence. But as I opened up my business and I got successful, a year, 2 years down, we kept a really good contact, and we still do today. And I even now today I do stuff for his business on videos, photos, whatever you name it. I mean, relationships, right? Yes. And they support it. But one of the things that Enrique taught me was like, we talk about how things are going. I'm like, dude, it's growing crazy. He's like, bro, you have to understand to take less. And that's when it really kind of dawned on me. He goes, you can't do it all. He's like, I was like that. And in order for me to get successful, and I kind of catapulted my way of success, was I had to let go and I had to train individuals how to get what I needed, because you can't be the creator. You can't be the editor. You can't be the director. If you have other people do that for you, you could take your time and invest it on getting the next opportunity. And I was like, you're right. And I took that route. And that was probably the best advice I've ever gotten, because when I took that route, 100 more doors opened up for me. The success of the businesses just grew tremendously. And, you know, shout out to Enrique for that, because I still think about that today. It was like, I had to really, you know, someone like myself is when you're very confident and you're very self-driven and you're very motivated, like you think you know it all. And you do, because you've had to been forced to have discipline, and you had to, no one told you yes or no. You had to navigate through these journeys by yourself by saying, hey, did it work? Did it not work? Okay, I'm good. So you have this of, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. So I had to take that pill and swallow it. Like, yeah. And I applied it. I'm like, you're right. And I did that, and it opened up a lot of doors for me. Yeah. So thank you, Enrique, for that one, my guy.
Yeah, brother. Honestly, you were speaking about so many lessons of like how you touch success, reaching another layer of success, but there was also a lot of mistakes along the way, I am sure, just like every entrepreneur, just like every businessman. Every risk taker has made significant mistakes that made significant changes. So, brother, what were probably the biggest mistakes that you personally made that you capitalized on and you saw the fruits of that?
I say, like, put it this way, bosses take losses. Right. I had to learn that, man. And the reason why I say that so just calmly is because it's true. Yeah. I had to understand that bosses take losses, bro. And I took a lot of losses, and I didn't allow those losses to hurt me. You know, I was like, all right, it is what it is. It didn't work. But you got to be willing to try it. Because if you don't know if it works or not, you're never going to know. Some things may work, some things may not work. But, hey, you tried it. Yeah. One of the things I felt that was one of my biggest losses, it was probably like a $10,000 loss, was I'm like, I want the next thing. I was just so amped, so motivated. And, you know, you get these calls or whatnot. I'm like, I need to be on Zillow. Or no, I need to be on Wedding Wire, right? I need to be on Wedding Wire. And it may work for some people. It may not work for some people. And I signed up for Wedding Wire and think it's total trash. I don't care. I'm going to keep it straightforward. I thought it was total trash. I feel like some of the ads were fake, but I was paying like $700 a month, man. $700 a month to put your listing up top and whatnot. I got one deal out of that thing, and out of the end of the day, it was not even worth it. And automatically renewed the contract without knowing about it. And I'm like, just cancel my damn subscription. And they're like, oh, it's going to cost you $3,500. I said, fuck it, just cancel it right now. I'll take me off all these listings. And I took a loss, but I can't cry about it because at the end of the day, it's like I did a free wedding. All right. I did one free deal. That's the way I look at it. It's like, all right, I'm going to work for free on this day and that's going to pay for this. Right. And you got to look at it that way. You can't look at it as like, oh man, I lost. Hey, you tried it, didn't work. You move on. Okay, cool. You grow from it. Some of the other things is losses is that, I don't really take too many on that way, but, you have to, it's hard to really step back and think on all the losses that you take. Because I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
I find a way to win on any other thing, you know. Right, during the pandemic, right in COVID, it's interesting because I just picked up this new photo booth. It was at the time, it was a mirror booth, and I've been eyeballing this thing for a minute, right? And I'm like, damn, it's a high ticket. It was like all in turnkey, everything was like 12,000. And I was like, damn, I need to do photo booth. And at the time, I wasn't even doing photo booths. I just started with photography. And then came along videography, got me into wedding films. And then I was like, cool, I was tapping into both of those. And then I'm like, maybe as I'm doing these weddings, they have a DJ, they got a photo booth, they got a planner, you got, you know, tables, chairs, linens. And I'm like, all that's in my mind, right? But I was like, in order for me to get more clients, let me incentivize them. Let me offer a photo booth. If I have a photo booth and I say, hey, you book photography, videography, I'll give you a complimentary photo booth. And that was like a selling point for me. So I'm like, I need to get the photo booth. So I started with a small photo booth to let that photo booth build up. Simple booth, very, very, I look at it today and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I started with that thing. But it was just a iPad on a Halo ring light. And, you know, I did about 50, 60 of those events. And with all the money that generated, I'm like, okay, I need to buy this photo booth. This photo booth was $12,000 a mirror booth. And I still use it today. That photo booth rents out 7 to 8 times a month for me today, right now. And that photo booth rents out anywhere from $700 to $1,000 one hit. And like I said, it rents out about 8 to 10 times a month today. Still one of the hottest booths in the market. But I needed this thing, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to look at it, want to buy it. I knew the ticket was $12,000. Like, it is what it is. Fuck it, I'm all in. Yeah. That's when you got to go all in. $12,000 cash money, you got to go all in. I bought it right around the time the pandemic happened. So I bought it, cashed out. Boom, brand new booth came in. I was used to put it out there. Pandemic hit. I was like, holy shit. That booth sat in my storage for 7 months before it got its first, 7 to 8 months before it got its first rental. Damn. So you think about that. Yeah. You know, you drop 10, 12, you drop 12 racks. You want to get it out there. For 8 months, it didn't make no money. That's a loss. But today, is it a loss? No, it's a gain. That booth done paid itself off 3 times. You know, the amount of revenue that booth alone brings in is just, it's just next level. And then from that booth, we got 2 other booths and we start growing those booths. And yeah, I went in there, but then I offered this thing and now I'm like, that's not complimentary. You want to, that was the Halo with the iPad is complimentary. Yeah. This is $1,000 booth. And from there, it's like, okay, let me add other things. And it grew, man. So give you guys a quick little journey of the journey of Unique Frame and how it started off for photography, jumped into videography. And I always loved doing, like, I knew I wanted to do weddings. When I got married, my wife and I, we spent a lot of money on our photographer and our videographer. And I was big on the videography. Yeah. I booked a videographer before I even had a venue, before I even had a photographer. And I knew who I wanted. And this guy today is very successful. And he taught me the ropes too. He taught me game, you know, definitely influential. And but we've even collaborated where he's like, hey, you got a shooter? Yeah. Today, someone who's done my wedding, who's very successful, called me for some of my shooters and I sent him his way. So it's like, to be at that level of caliber of like, hey, you're doing something right. And I was like, little did he know, I was looking at his stuff and like, that was what motivated me and other people too as well. When you see a vision, like, okay, you take a little bit of that and that's the flavor, right? Yeah. But you put your own flavor because you can't copy people. Yeah. You got to be unique. That's why it's Unique Frame. Agree. You know? So I figured that out, right? And I was like, all right. So we did that, and I was able to did videography. And a friend of mine, she was getting married, and she hired me for photography. And I was like, and a really good friend of mine. And I was like, okay, do your photography. And I was like, you got a videographer? She's like, no, I couldn't afford one. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn. I was like, you know what? Let me do your video. She's like, for real? I said, just let me do your video for you too. I'll just do it. And I'm like, she's like, really? I said, yeah, I'm just tapping into this, starting into it. Let me just do your video. And I shot that wedding with me and my buddy who doesn't even do photography or videography. I was like, Aunt, I just need you to run the tripod. Aunt, you're going to watch this and you're going to remember that. My boy Aunt is my best friend, man. And he was like, thank you, but I'm never doing this shit again. He was like, you got me standing up 12 hours a day. Fuck that. Right. But we did that wedding, and I was wearing 4 or 5 hats that day, man. Photography, videography, drone, you name it. I had to get all the angles, had to put a tripod on 3 different spots, had 3 cams going to get the angles, but we created a film.
Yeah.
And looking back at that film today, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that. But that got me motivated. I'm like, okay, I put this video out, and then it booked me more weddings and more weddings and more weddings. And I'm like, it was a snowball, right? Yeah. It just kept growing. Now today, man, we're doing cinematography and whatnot, and it's a whole nother level. So like photography, it's alone in the business, is its own entity. Videography, it's its own entity. Photo booth, it's its own like entity. It brings its own clientele. Yes. And and I'm like, damn, okay, cool. And that was just rolling for me. And it got to a point I was like, I just want more, you know. And I have a really good friend of mine, Heather. You gonna watch this, girl? Got me locked down. Heather's tapped in the Morgan Hill community. She's very much dialed into party planning and event planning. I wouldn't say party planning, full events. I'm talking City Hall, wineries, tapped into all the wineries in Morgan Hill, Gilroy, all in that area. And we connected. I don't know how we connected, but we tapped in. And energy was great from the minute we met each other. We just hit it off, you know, and she taught me the game of the planning business. And I was like, damn. She's like, and she shot me weddings. She would have clients that would come through. She was a wedding planner. And hey, I need this. Can you do it? Yep, done. Let's do it. And she brings me so much business, and we bring each other business. And, you know, she got me a lot of clients that I was able to elevate my game and grow. So I'm very thankful for that. And, you know, it's just like, you know, I was having dinner. My wife's birthday was coming up. It was my wife's 30th birthday, or 32nd birthday, I believe. I don't want to put your age out there, babe, but so. Anyways, we're having dinner at the house, and I wanted to do something special for her. So I called Heather, and I was like, hey, and this is how I got my next business venture, right? I'm like, Heather, I want to have dinner at the house for my wife. I want you to come set up the table in the back, and I want to do something nice. So Heather and Gail, it's like, gotcha, say less. She came over to my house, decked out the entire backyard. It looked like a private event, right? Chiavari chairs and linens and table plates and settings and whatnot, and hired a chef. Chef came out, and I'm like, damn, this is a nice setup. You know, I had some of my sequence backdrop in the back, looked nice, like it looked good, right? And I was like, I want to add something else. So at the time, balloons were popping. That's when balloons just came out. It was like probably like a couple of years ago when everyone was doing balloons. So I looked at this contact on Instagram, and I hit this person up. I was like, hey, it's super last minute, same day. I was like, I want to get some marquee letters, and I want to get a balloon garland for my wife's birthday. She's like, I don't care about the price, just deliver. She's like, okay, done. And I think I paid like $560 for 2 letters and a 5-foot garland. The girl charged like $30 a foot. I was like, whatever, done, set it up. Yeah. Came to the house. Definitely had an access, like a highlight of the building, of the aesthetic of the room was like, wow, right? So my wife came in, super surprised. It was great. We're having dinner. I'm just like, you know, having dinner, enjoying our evening, and I'm just like, hit me. I was like, I just paid $560 for 2 marquees and a balloon. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I need to tap into the marquee business, you know? I'm not even joking. Before the night was over, I found the vendor who made the fucking marquees. And it was in town. I found the vendor who made the marquees. Shout out to Eversweet, killing it on the marquee letters, and obviously tapped into them. I tapped in with her, and I said, hey, I want to order some marquees. And she's like, how much are your marquees? She's like, $200 a marquee. I'm like, all right. I'm like, but I'm going to buy a lot. Like, I'm going to go all in. I'm not just buying 1 or 2. I need a deal. And she's like, well, how many are you going to buy? I'm like, a lot. She's like, okay, I'll give them to you for $160. And I was like, we negotiated the price. I'm not going to put the price out there. But I was like, we're going to buy a lot. And she's like, and they started their business at that time too, where they started getting it going. So 20 marquees right then and there. Just said, I need 20 letters. I want 1 through 10. And then I want these letters, A-E-I-O-U, right?
Yeah,
You need the vowels and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, cashed out, man. I cashed out, but I don't know what the total was, but you do the math, $200 a marquee. And I cashed out. And I'm like, I'm offering these marquee letters for the photo booth rental. Yeah. So if you want to book a photo booth, you could do marquee letters or whatever it is. And I rent those marquees out for $90 a letter. Yeah. And today I got over 80 letters and numbers and whatever you name it. But I'm sitting at dinner and I'm like, I need that. And then we did marquees, and after marquees come around balloons. I ain't no clown. I pumping up balloons. I guess I am, right? Because I'll blow these damn balloons up myself. But I learned how to do balloons, and I'm like, it's crazy because even to today, when I show up to some of my events and my balloon setups, dudes are like, "Oh, you do the balloons?" They never. It's kind of different to see a man, like a guy, do balloon setups. A lot of females do them, right? Yeah. But I have some family members who do balloons and other people that do balloons. And again, same game. Just like I did the photography business and the videography business, I basically hired people that are good at balloons, helped me out, pay them, they did me, and little did they know I was learning off them. And I learned the game. And boom, kill it in the balloon game.
You know what I love about entrepreneurs is they become great at a specific skill.
Yeah.
Then they learn a new skill. Then they touch a new skill. Learn that and harness that. Same thing with this, bro. Photography, videography, photo booth, balloons. It's almost like you know whatever you touch, you're gonna see the fruits of it regardless.
For sure. You just gotta be confident, man. And you gotta be ballsy. You gotta say, fuck it, I'm all in. You gotta cash in. It's like poker. You don't know what your card's in front of you, but you're all in and you're hoping to take a win. But you gotta bet on yourself. So I did that in the balloon game. I did that in the marquee game. I did that in the videography game. And within the photography, videography, marquees, letters, balloons, all that, now I'm like event planning. I'm like, dude, you get tables, chairs, linens, pipe and drape, whatever you name it. And that took it to a whole nother level. And that's the scale that took, photography, videography, depending on your client, that's great. It can bring you about anywhere from, $2,000 up to $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. I mean, I've done weddings that clients pay me over $15,000. Indian weddings, 3-day benders, whatever you name it, that are great, and you deliver. But when I started doing the event planning, I got big time clients, big companies that done events at City Hall, done events at the convention center, done events at wineries, and they're booking you for tables, chairs, balloons, pipe and drape, photography, videography, photo booth. You're talking all the stuff that we offer is a one-stop shop, and they love that. And not only is that, I'll also coordinate your event, and I'm very much like take it by the hands and go all in, and we want to make sure the event's rolling, and I know how to do that. So I know how to take control of situations and own it, and I'm good at that, and that's a blessing that I have, and that's a trait that I got from Shoe Palace that I'm forever grateful for. But that was able to allow the business to grow and get to that next level, and today we're successful, man. But I can't do it by myself. I got a team. I got a very great team. I invest in the team, and I got a very great circle of people we connect with, and just not being greedy. Everybody eats. From the people who taught me, from the people I teach, we all eat. I'm not greedy, man. And you can't be greedy in the game. If you want to be successful, you got to be willing to take care of the people around you that are taking care of your business. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and everything owns its own self. Like, I mean, dude, the marquee business, people who have marquees, I got 6-7 vendors that also have marquees, but dude, they got a key to my shop where they just come in and pick what they need and say, I took this, I took that, perfect, I took this. That business is rolling. I'm not even touching anything. Yeah. And vice versa. If I need something, they got it, I got it. We help each other out. We also, everything, man. I'm just, it's crazy how many things go in my mind, and my wife's like, you're never going to stop, huh? I was like, I say I am, I want to, the goal is to slow down, but it's hard not to when you put it this way, man. It's hard to say no. When you got to grow up like I grew up, and when you come from where I came from, not having nothing, having I wouldn't say I didn't have nothing, because my mom did everything she could to make sure we had what we needed. And she did very well at that, to make sure we had clothes on our back and food in the fridge. We didn't have the high name brand stuff, but we had what we needed, and but I'm fortunate for that, because that humbled me to know what it was to not have everybody in school had all the best fresh kicks on and new gear and new backpack on the first day of school, and I'm using the backpack from 2 years ago, or kicks from, and you learn that, right? But when I started learning how to hustle and make money, man, when I got my first paycheck, I never looked back. I was like, damn, this is what it tastes like to get money. And I knew I wanted more. But when you do, and you come up from that struggle, man, it really humbles you, and it levels you out to say, okay, that's where the discipline comes from, of like, you need to make it. I was on my own at 15, 16 years old, technically, where I had to raise myself. And if I wanted nice things, I had to go get it. If I wanted great things, my first car I bought when I was 17 years old, I got that myself, and bought it from a dealer and whatnot. And it's crazy. Like, you look at that, and you grow. Never in this lifetime that I am now today that if there's something that I want, I don't get, I get it. And every single milestone in my life, my wife was right there with me supporting it. And my wife and I have been together close to 20 years. And she's been the backbone to what I have, and she understood the sacrifice of the grind. And I told her that from day one. When I proposed to her in Miami, I told her part of my my proposal speech was like, I'm gonna grind and I'm gonna hustle, and you better be ready to be there with me. It's gonna be lonely, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it.
I love
and
that.
If you're willing
man.
to take this journey, let's go. And she's like, I'm all in, and she's been all in ever since.
Bro, that is such a flex, man.
Yeah.
Literally, because I hear young men my age literally saying women are a distraction. I'm like, well, where are you fishing? Where are you looking at? Because when you have a woman to enhance everything that you're doing, that is the biggest flex. And then you having that, bro, hey, I applaud that. Shout out to her, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, shout out to my wife. It's a huge thing, man, and it's what you invest into, right? You got to be able to invest into each other.
Yeah.
And she comes from a great family. Her mom, dad are amazing, and she's been by my side. She took me from who I am and built me to who I was. Took me from who I was and built me to who I am.
Yeah.
And she's seen that. She didn't judge, but we built our legacy together. And we have 3 beautiful kids today, and my wife's fucking the rock of the house, right?
Yeah.
She holds it down, and she understands, like, hey, I'm gone. I'm gonna be leaving. I gotta handle something. All right, cool. Make sure you eat. All right, cool. Do that. Like, make sure you're good. Like, hey, you got what you need. She's reminding me to this day, like, hey, did you do that? Like, she's my reminder, you know what I mean? Because I got so many things going through my head, and she's like, okay, yeah, this is it. Don't forget.
Yeah.
And and she holds it down at the house, and dude, I'm gone, bro. Like, still to this day, being successful in what I am, I'm still growing the business, bro. Like, my brother lives up. We bought houses in Hollister, right? And come to happen that I didn't even know my brother's buying a house in the same area we bought, and his house is right up the hill, and in his back window of his master bedroom, you can see our house. And he tells me, bro, you're grinding. He's all, bro, I look at my house in the morning, your car's gone. I look at the house when I come back, your car's still gone. You're driving in at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're opening your garage, and you're still doing things. Like, you're grinding, and that's what it is. It's a sacrifice. And I always come home no matter where I'm at, what I do, no matter what. I always come home at the end of the night, no matter how tired I am. I make it happen to come home. Come home to my family at the end of the day of the grind, and I do it. And there's some nights, man, still to this day, I don't see my kids for a day or two, because by the time I get home, they're sleeping, ready for school, and I got to do what I got to do. And I'm up early. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, dipping out, doing the next project, and I'm out. And that's the sacrifice. You're still sacrificing to this day time. And I'll sacrifice it, and I'll do it all over again, because the life that we're building and the life that we're living today is a true testament to the labor that you put in and the sacrifice that you put in, and it doesn't come easy. And I'm forever grateful for that. So I have to really step back and applaud, the journey, because it's really it wasn't easy, but those are quitters in this world, and there's doers in this world, right? Quitters will never be successful, because the minute it gets rough, they get out of the pit. Yeah. I'm the type that, fuck it, I thrive under pressure. Pressure is like, I need that pressure sometimes for me to just take, like, I thrive, man. Like, I always make it happen, right? And I kill it, and I do a great job at what I do, and people love the work that we do. And it's crazy, man, to this day. Like, it blows my mind on all the things that we do into the business, because it allowed us to live such a great life. Like, bro, like, I mean, just like 3 weeks ago, I think, what probably 3 weeks ago. I don't know. 3 weeks ago. It's the beauty of the hard work is enjoying nice things, right? I was like up. I wanted to go to the Niner game. I was like, my father-in-law is a huge Niner fan, right? And I'm like, we get tickets, and I was like, there's no tickets available. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna buy some tickets. I couldn't midnight open up. And the game's on Sunday. I have an event on Sunday. I have to do a quick little engagement party setup, back wall, barn wall, balloon setup, quick little nice setup, And I was like, party starts at 2, setup has to be at 10, whatever. I'm like, all right. I'm like, still going to this game. And bought tickets to the Niner game, bought 5 tickets. I told my wife, said, hey, we're going to go to the game tomorrow. I'm taking your dad. Get ready. She's like, well, you got to set up. I was like, I know. On the way to the game, I'm going to stop and do the setup, and we're going to go to the game. So on the way to the game, stopped, hit my little setup, did the event, boom, 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 got paid, went to the game, had fun. And it's great, man. Like, to be able to be in those situations where you're like, pit stop, boom, make a rack or two, boom, let's go to the game, spend a couple hundred, cool, boom. Like, that didn't start like that, but you built that, and you got to enjoy it. You know what I mean? And she's like, are you ever gonna slow down? I say no, because at the end of the day, like, she's like, you can never just say no. I can't say no, because you can't always assume that the deal's gonna be there.
Yeah,
you got to take any opportunity that's in front of you and you grab it, because I know what it's like not to have no money.
Yeah,
and I know what it's like to have money, and I know what it's like to lose it, and I know what it's like to get it again. And when you die, you can't take it with you. So anybody out there, man, enjoy life. Enjoy it to your fullest. Make smart decisions, though. Make sure you do what you got to do to make sure everything's taken care of. But enjoy life when you can, because what's the point of working if you can't enjoy it?
Yeah.
So. But yeah, man, on that one, I'm very blessed.
You know how you told me off air how I need to pinch myself a lot more often, and then do you do that? Because you're on the go, go, go.
It's crazy because it's crazy that you say that, because like that's a tip I had to take for myself. You're constantly go, 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 and I'm when I say, dude, I'm going. I'm 7 days a week nonstop, and I have to stop and celebrate the small wins, because I don't. I'm like, I want more, and I'm like, I want more. I want that. I want this. I want that. I want that. I'm like, I get mad at myself, and I beat myself down, because I'm not like, I don't get that, I don't have. But when I step back and everything I got, I'm like, dude, step back, smell the air, step back and visualize what you have. Take a step back, and I do, and I'm like, and I had to, and the minute I do that, I'm like, okay, cool, bring it back to reality. The life that you're living today, people wish they had, and it takes time to build it. But at any given moment, man, it could go away. If you do not build a solid foundation from the start, the empire will crumble. And that's where it's very, very, very important when we go back to the point of, like, you got to be picky. You got to be picky. You got to be picky on who you let in your business. You got to be picky on what you do to your business. You got to be picky on how you deliver your business, right? You have to be picky, because you got to build that solid foundation. Because if you don't have a solid foundation, bro, that thing's going to crumble the minute things get hard.
Yeah.
And it has to be able to sustain on its own. And I feel like I built that. And I felt like I built that, and it's still building it every single day. And that's why I go so hard, because I can't quit. I can't quit, because the minute I quit, I'm not there yet to quit. And there'll be a time when I can step away and it's going to completely run on its own. But in the business that we do, it's hard because you're an artist. You're not a photographer. You're not a videographer. You're not a balloon maker. You're not a builder. You're an artist. Yeah. People are paying for your craft of creativity to deliver a wow. When they walk into a room, they're like, wow, jaw dropping, right? That takes time. I just did an event. We went to Disneyland last week before I left. It's hella funny. We went to Disneyland. We took off on Thursday morning. My wife's like, we're leaving Thursday morning. I was like, all right, take the kids to Disneyland. Monday morning, I get a phone call or text message. Like, starts off as a conversation. I'll read it. Because this is how fast like something doesn't come up, Conversation started Monday, like, yo, what up? This Thomas? I was like, yes, it is. And I'm leaving, and he's like, "Hey man, my brother's getting engaged, and I want to do a setup." I was like, "When's the event?" It's like Saturday. Keep in mind, I'm gonna be in Disneyland on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, "Can you do it?" My first response, yes. So I'm like, yes. I can't say no. Yes, I could do it. So my wife's like, how are you gonna do that? I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. We're gonna do it. Balloons last for a few days. You can set it up on a Wednesday, and it'll be set up.
Yeah.
So I did. I took it anyways. We made it happen. And the guy's like, "Hey man, you're a really good family friend." He's like, "Your quality." One of the things and this is what you do is you create memories, and this is what we do. When I showed him what we have going on, once everything was all said and done, and he got his backdrop, his response was, "Damn, bro, you're a beast. You're an animal." Because what he showed me they were gonna do, he's like, "I couldn't let my brother do that." And when he walked out, when he came back after I've done the setup, the guy was like, "Wow, the entire aesthetic of the room changed." And that's a lifetime moment for his brother and his brother's fiance of getting their whatever they had going on in a celebration. Those are gonna be photos forever, man.
Yeah.
That's art. And he's like, "Bro, you're a beast. You killed it. Thank you so much." Like, that's a client for life, but that's also like to take something and go for it. I'm not always about the money, man. I cut people some good deals to get the opportunity. I'm not always here to make 100% of the money. If I could build a relationship, build a client, and get the deal and make enough where it's worth my time, it's gonna reimburse me 10 times more. And it's done that, and that's a good trait for me. But I still did it, and blessing. I'm telling you, man, leave the Disneyland on Thursday, hit a deal. It's like I hit a lick. It's like I hit a quick lick and boom, hit a quick, we're going to have some fun in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like, and you're blessed for that, and that's how I treat it, man. At the end of the day, money comes, money goes. As long as I have what I need and my family have food on their, food on the table and clothes on their back, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
And you build it. But like stepping back today, if it wasn't for me having the dinner at my house and having this girl sell me a $560 setup. By the way, the setup this past weekend was a backdrop, balloons, and some marquee letters, right?
Yeah.
And some Shivari chairs and whatever you name it, right? But if it wasn't for me having that idea at dinner and have a flashback, I wouldn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I would just be doing video and photo.
Crazy.
But I'm like, man, that opened up, and now it comes. So like every single day of the week, man, I'm getting a hit up for a photo booth, or I'm getting a hit up for some marquees, or I'm getting a hit up for photo session, or I'm getting a hit up for balloons, you name
Never
it, right?
ends.
And one of the biggest things, it's not a competition. I don't ever see anything as competition. A lot of people in this industry, they do, and they want to compete, and that's fine. I don't look at it as competition. Some of the people that also do balloons and also do marquees, I'm connected with them.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're gonna need them, and we collaborate very well, and we connect, and we get things done, and we do big events together. And like I said, everybody eats. And by doing that, you open up your circle. Hey, I can't do this event. You want to take this event? Hey, you don't have the event. Let me take your event.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you need this. I got this. You got that. I need this. And we all take care of what we need. And we all, we're all out there just trying to make sure we have a successful lifestyle, right? And by doing that, you build on that. And that was the one thing that I understood was like, it's not a competition. There is enough opportunities out there that everyone can get a deal.
Yeah.
And I do that, bro. And I take care of a lot of people, and I feel like that's why I'm blessed so much too, is it's a blessing. I've always been blessed in my life, and I like to give back to people who could get some stuff and help them out.
That's why I always prioritize building a brotherhood, a sisterhood before business. I feel like that is a big priority of mine, and it's always been so. And a lot of people will kind of look at me kind of weird for doing that, but I'm like, I'm very old school in that way, where I'd rather build a connection long term before the numbers.
You have to, man. You have to build relations. Yeah. Without a relationship, you can't grow.
Yeah.
And you gotta be able to build valued relationships where you want to have relationships with people that you have successful business conversations, ventures. What are you going to do? How are you going to set it out? And you build certain things like that. Like I have a lot of people that I connect with, and we talk about what's next. What are we going to do? Let's bring that into fruition. Let's make it happen. And people that motivate you. I have a lot of people that, a lot of my close friends, I could count them on my hand. They're all successful, and we've all support each other, and they're killing the game, man. I'm talking killing the game. And that's kind of how I met you. Was one of my buddy who's killing the game, Alex, and he connected. It's funny. It's funny how you connected it, because like Alex is family, bro. Alex is. I mean, I love Alex and the Ortega family. I mean, they're family to me, right? And Alex said, "Hey T, I need you to show up, man. I just launched my new truck." I was like, "Fuck, another one? Okay, cool. My boy's killing the game. Fucking teriyaki chicken, right?" I'm like, "Happy teriyaki." I was like, "Cool." He's like, "I'm gonna give out 800 bowls." He's like, "I'm gonna give out 800 bowls, and I need you to come film it." And I was like, "Dude, this is during a weekday. I got like my schedule's tight." And I'm like, "Bro, I got you." And it's family, so I don't even like we don't even count the dollar. It's just I got you. Need me, bro? I'm there. I got you.
Yeah.
Like it's family, you know. And I'm like, all right, weekday, have to work, do what I gotta do, pull up. It was like America's Next Top Videographer. I show up, you were there, another videographer there. I was like, wait, you do a video? And he's like, I'm doing video. I was like, Alex is like, hey, I brought you guys together because I want to collaborate. And I'm like, fucking Alex, dude. I was like, my guy. All right, but I love that because that's what Alex sees is like, he also looks at that as like building people together. Yeah. And that was the chip. And I'm like, all right, cool. So when I seen you and I was like, oh, what do you got? Okay, cool. Checked out game. And I was like, you telling me you're starting off? And I'm like, come on, give you some game. And I was like, I even sent you the Dropbox with our link, bro. Use this for a video, whatever you need, bro. It's all good. It's all family, you know?
Yeah.
And if I would have never went to his setup or did what I need, I wouldn't be here today. And
crazy, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy how like full circle comes around and you go home and you talk to your brother. I was telling you my game and whatnot, and it's like either you talk big game and you can back it up, but when you got home, your brother's like, oh yeah, Thomas? You met Thomas? Okay. It was like, okay, this dude's the dude, right? But the brother was someone that I coached, I mentored, I taught, and it's stern, bro. I'm a tough cookie. I'm very firm and I'm very direct. But you have to be because in life, that's how life's gonna treat you. Yeah. They're gonna eat you up and spit you out if you can't handle that. And if you can't sustain pressure, bro, you're gonna fold every given moment.
Agreed.
But being in that opportunity with, I was like, all right, cool, and we delivered, and I'm glad because now we have a relationship, right?
I know, man.
And then when you told me everything that you do, I was like, bro, let's go, let's run it, man. I love it. Let's run it. And that's what's the beauty about this industry is you meet so many people. I mean, from the events to corporate events to weddings to family events to you name it, bro. Birthday parties, quinceañeras. I mean, you name it. It's
one of the best parts about it, man. Seriously. Well, my brother, we have been way over an hour, and I'm going to be really respectful of your time. So I have 2 more questions for you. All right,
go ahead, man. I'm
so
good. When we have a good conversation, you go in there, bro.
You go all day.
So right. Bro. This is good, bro. Hey, for me too. It's like let's run it. It's any content's good content. No, but you know what? It's really like when you said put this out. I seen your page. I love what I seen, and if I didn't like what I seen, I wouldn't be like not gonna invest my time into it. But it's not about that. I want to be a part of that. Like when you could give people a real life discussion of people are out there trying to find who they are. Yeah, they're maybe have lost their job, trying to find a new venture. Maybe have left their job because they want to. I mean, I have people that left. Have a great position. They left because they want to go pursue something else because that's their dream. But they don't know how to start it. So like when you could get some game to some people, I'm all about that.
Agreed, brother. So my last 2 questions, if this was your podcast and if you had a specific question for me, what would it be?
I guess if it was my podcast and I had a specific question for you, I would ask you, one, Daniel, what is your goal, right? What's your goal out of this, and how are you going to get there?
Man, I am all about just being able to feed this platform properly, which is the people. So like kind of how you were saying, being very picky, I'm very picky who even comes on here because I'll get messages from people all the time like, I want to come on your show. I want to come on your show. But it's like the portfolio, what I see within these people, I'm like, if I want this show to be what it is, I have to feed it properly.
Yeah, for sure.
But brother, for me, I would want this to be one of the most valuable podcasts in the world. How I do that is by feeding it properly every single day, by showing up for it every single day, polishing it up every single day. Is that going to take work? Is that going to take sleepless nights, etc.? Bro, I've been doing this forever, my man. I am not close to even slowing down. If I slow down, it is a slap in the face to my future self. So for me, bro, that's what it is. Showing up for it every single day and feeding it properly every single day. If I can do that, I know it's going to be where it is, because I have been called delusional so many times. And every time somebody has called me delusional, it happened.
They call you delusional because they don't understand. It's easy for someone to criticize you or name call you because, oh, you're crazy, or hey, how do you do that?
But I like that word.
But yeah, but we love that word, right? Yeah, I am delusional, but let me show you reality,
Yeah.
right? When you got people scrolling on your page and they're looking like, wow, like it's wild to see. Like I just wanted to get one deal. Bro, I've had 3, 4, 5 deals in one day. How in the hell did that happen? Right? I'm delusional. Right? It's delusional, right? We got these people at work. They say the Delulu crew, right? The Delulu crew is like, yeah, but you know what? You got to be a little crazy to have some success. Because you know what? Being crazy is sacrificing everything that you got to be able to want it, and that is crazy. Because some people may be reserved and like, hey, I can't do that.
Yeah,
I can't do that, right? Well, guess what? You got to be willing to lose it all to gain it all.
Yeah,
and that is delusional.
Yes.
But you have to be, man. You have to be, but you also have to be willing to sacrifice. But you got to be able to deliver.
Yeah,
You got to be able to deliver. You can't procrastinate. You can't get derailed. You can't let any distractions come in.
brother, I've been saying no to distractions my entire life.
You got to be able to sustain long-term value, because without value, there's nothing. If there's no value in your technique, if there's no value in your craft, if there's no value in who you are as a person, there's not, you got nothing.
What are we doing?
Yeah, you got to be able to build value. And I felt like the company has built value. The business has built value. The people around me has built value. And I think picky is key. We touched back on this again when you said you got to be picky. You got to be picky, bro. You have to be picky, because this is your name. You know, this is your podcast. Highly Valued Discussions is your name. You got to be picky on who you bring in here, who you bring into your space.
Yeah.
This is your creative space, man. I'm stepping around in here, and I could tell you that you invested a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
And if those people who've never built nothing and who've never invested into their self and nothing, they don't understand that. Bro, look at your literature, bro. You got probably over $100,000 of literature in here. Yeah. Like, that's an investment into yourself, into your mind, into your soul, but that's also an investment into what you want to get to. Yeah. And I could see that. I could see that in you, and that's why I kind of gave you game when I first met you. Yeah. It was like when I met you, I was like trying to recruit you. I was like, you got to grow. I'm constantly thinking grind mode. I'm like, not only this, I'm like, who is this guy? Let me see this guy roll up. All right, he has a backpack. What has he got in the backpack? Oh, okay.
You're all like this.
Oh, you got an FX30. Okay. Oh, you got a gimbal. Okay. Oh, you got a Ronin. All right. What kind of mic does he got? Oh, you got a Rode? Let's go. It was like, cool. Let him do his thing. Let me see how it works, right? Little do you know, I was kind of just like eyeballing it. And then I started talking to you, and I'm like, all right, cool. What you got, man? Let me give you some game. You change your frame rate or do this or do that. And like, it's going to help you, man. Because at the end of the day, when I looked at that, I was like that. I didn't know left from right. And people who taught me and coached me, it's very black or white. You keep it in this, you keep it in this. You don't change it in the film life, right? And you don't change that. In photography, you should hit your shutter anytime you want. But when you're doing for videography, it's you keep it here, you keep it here. There's a certain way you want to deliver a certain quality. And if that's going to help you, bro, that's a quick 5-minute litute lesson discussion.
I am an open book, brother. If somebody tells me who is like multiple steps ahead of me, I am going to listen and shut up.
And I was like, cool. And I love that. And I was like, I mean, same day, bro. I was like, hey, you want to jump on an event with me? Like, I'm willing to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm also willing to collaborate. I'm always willing to learn. And I'm always willing to grow. And that's the key, bro. You got to have that itch to meet new people and do new things. Because that's how you grow the business, you know?
Yeah, agreed. My brother, my very, very last question for you.
Go ahead, man.
As a man of your status and all your experience of life, how would you define success?
Everybody hears the word success and they think financial gain, right? It's success. Success is because you have money. Money ain't shit, man. Money comes, money goes. I've done hit rock bottom and had nothing, and I've done fucking spent thousands of dollars and enjoyed my night and did it again all over again. Money is just paper. When you define success and you look at the word success, I mean, goes off to my little brother Jonathan. I got 2 younger brothers, an older brother, and older sister and a younger sister. Come from 6. My mom had 6 kids, but my younger brother, they're all hustlers, man. I'm very proud of my little brothers. I'm gonna get off track here, but my little brother Armando, he has his own paving company. Bay Area Patch and Seal, killed it, taught him the game, and I mean he's hitting big deals, man. Like he's took it and ran with it. My little brother has his own taco company. He has his own detail company. And we all taught it, and everyone says when they hear my name, they're like, your whole family are hustlers, and you are what you see, right? I taught my little brothers everything I know, and I'm hard on them, and I taught them the game and was hard on them, but they looked at their big brother and they're like, okay, cool. And you support each other, man, and you push them. But my younger brother, I love that kid to death, man. He doesn't know it as much, he may not know it, but I love him. But he's always said, man, you're fucking rich. I said, I'm like, it's not about the money. It's not about everything you got, because the fucking house you got, the car you got, all that doesn't mean shit. Because oh, you're rich. My definition of rich is you have a beautiful wife, you have a beautiful family, bro. With that, you're rich. When I define success and I look at that, I kind of took that into my day-to-day life. And he's right. Success is what you build with your family. Success is being able to come home and my kids have a smile on their face because they have everything that they need, more than that they need. My kids have more than they need, and they're very blessed. And that comes from my sacrifices that I put on to make them happy. But all of that stuff's just collateral. Success is good health and good faith. You keep those two things with you, man. You got to keep your faith number one. No matter what, I always keep my faith. No matter what, hard times, good times, bad times, I always cross my face. I keep my faith. That's number one. I give my success to the Lord. And by doing so, it's what I instill in my kids and my wife is success. It's a grind, man. It's a grind, but my definition is success is a healthy family. And in order to be healthy, you got to make right decisions. By the way you speak, by the way you act, by the way you think. I mean, my daughter's 7, my son's about to be 4, and my youngest son's 2. And my daughter, who's 7, I mean, her brain is like a sponge, bro. And she is absorbing. My son is absorbing everything that I do and everything that I deliver, and they're absorbing that thing. So I have to make sure I'm making the right decisions for their well-being. And in order to do so, you have to strategically move and navigate through this world and make the right decisions in life to become successful. And success is what? Is it the house? Is it the car? Is it the collateral? Is it the jewelry? Is it the designer? What's success, right? Everyone has their own vision of success. Mine is a healthy family. And I'm going to continue to do what I need to do to make sure my family's healthy and they have a roof over their head and clothes on their back and food in the fridge.
Love it, my brother. Are there any closing statements you'd like to give for the podcast, my man?
Any closing statements? No, man. I'm happy to be in your space, man. It was very
It's an honor for me,
welcoming.
my
It was
man.
good, man. I love it. Like, it's a little different because, like, as a photographer and a videographer, you're always behind the camera. So having the camera in your face right now and just hitting it, it's like it's natural because I never, like, you know, we could go on for days, man. Because I mean, you can't really give a whole legacy or story in an hour, right? But you could go on and on and on about the knowledge, and you may draw blanks here and there and deliver the high points. But
That's why we got to do this multiple times.
we got to do this multiple times. But honestly, man, it was really like, you know, the key of today was successful people, right? What makes you successful? What makes you successful is your presence, is your aura, is your confidence. If you want to reach success and you want to be, if you want to reach success and you want to be something, you got to have confidence.
Yeah.
You got to be able to walk into a room and you got to own that room. When you speak to people, look at them in their eyes, make eye contact, say what you got to say, do what you got to do, but be confident, but also listen, right? Because without confidence, you won't have nothing.
Yeah.
You fold. You're going to want to, you know, you get nervous. Your throat starts to choke up. And did I say it right? Cotton mouth, or like, you know, and that's the key thing is you got to be able to have confidence. You got to walk through this world with confidence, man. And there is no blueprint on life. I'll say that again. There's no blueprint on life. You think I had a blueprint on my life? I didn't have a blueprint on my life. Growing up, how I grew up and what I had to do, and it's a different feeling, man. You had to really kind of navigate through life and make it happen. And you got to be able to navigate through life with the right person. I found the right person at a young age. My wife's been with me by my side, and she's continued by my side through all the ups and through all the downs. She's, the mother of our 3 kids, and that's number one, man. You have to find that partner in life that you can navigate through life with, who's going to be able to hold you accountable. My wife still to today holds me accountable for every little thing, whether I like it or not. And sometimes she be pissing me the fuck off, but I step back and I love it, because it's like, it pisses you off because no one ever told me what to do in life. My mom, not my dad, not nothing. I'm self-made, bro. I got self-made tatted down the rib of my kid. I got self-made tatted down my rib. My first tattoo I got was self-made, blasted from the armpit to the hip, bro. And that was at 17 years old, 18 years old. I got that tattoo because I knew I was gonna be self-made. And I had to stand. You can't get a self-made tattoo and be a bum. Be a self-made tattoo and live at home and not have nothing on your own and do things, bro. No, I had to go out there and get it, bro. I was a grinder, and self-made and that motivated me every day. Is like, self-made. Okay, you need to go up and go get it. Yeah. Show me what self-made is. Yeah. And self-made is making sure any obstacle that's in front of you, bro, you got to navigate through it. There's gonna be some hard times. There's gonna be some good times. Yeah. And when you're in the good times, don't get too cocky. Yeah. Understand that you got to continue to put in and invest. And when there's hard times, weather the storm. Bro, there's times when I'm being tested and I'm like, all right, this is a testament. I'm being challenged right now. I could fold or I could keep going. And I just keep going. And that's the key thing. So that's major takeaway, bro, is keep your eye on the prize. And again, step by step. Look at the step, not the staircase. But you got to go step by step. And you cannot cut the shortcut, man. There's no shortcuts on success. People want to get success overnight. People want the nice car. They want the nice this. They want the flashy this and that. It doesn't happen overnight, man. No. It doesn't happen overnight. My first apartment, I was paying, $2,500, $2,700 living in an apartment. And then another apartment, another townhome. I'm like, we got to buy a home, bro. We built our house from the ground up. But it didn't happen overnight. It took dedication, sacrifice, sleepless nights, and networking. Networking is key. I'm going to say that again. If there's any takeaways from this podcast, you need to network, you need to have confidence, you got to have a strategy, and you got to forecast. Forecasting is key. People don't forecast. I forecast. I write down my ideas, my thoughts, and you got to see it visualized. In your mind, that's cool. It's in your mind, but you have so many things going through your mind. You got this call, you got the phone call, you got to do this, you got to do, and things get lost in your mind, and you're just like, my mind's on repeat, man. I still to this day, I got insomnia. I can't even go to sleep. It's 2:00 and I'm twiddling my toes in the bed, and I'm like thinking of what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna, my wife, go to fucking sleep. I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs, like, go to sleep, and I can't because my mind's constantly racing, so I don't know how to turn it off. And the reason why I can't turn it off is because I'm not where I want to be yet. And I think once I could turn it off is when I know I made it. And I'm not there yet. So we got to keep going, man. And the other thing is, you never know who's watching you. And you never know who's watching. I got people call, hey, I seen that. I'm like, what? Like, you never know people are watching you, man. You may be walking down the hall and you don't know they're watching you. Yeah. People are watching your every move because why? You motivate them. I motivate a lot of people. Just by my presence in the room is motivation. I walk into a room and it's hard. It's hard because I like to own. Ownership is key, bro. I own every little thing I do. Anything I do. My nickname that my buddies gave me is DTM, does the most, and I do it. I do the most. I do the most. If it's so small, it's gonna be grande. I'm all in. But it's because like I just can't stop, man. Like I just. Next level, like it's next level. Everything you go all in. Never. If you're gonna go in and do something, do it to the best of your ability and go all in. Don't half-ass anything, because many half-ass things, that's your character. Yeah. Your character. When you hear my name, T-Raw, they're gonna be like, does the most, gonna deliver. Fucking guy don't sleep, a machine, right? And that is, and as long as I could do this, as long as I could continue to do this, and my body allows me to do it, you got to find. Peace down the way, but I'm gonna continue to do it until I could build and I could step away. Yeah. But I'm there, man. But I mean, it was great. I could go on and on, right? Bro. But you know what? It was definitely a good time to be here, exciting, bro.
Well, my brother, this is called High Value Discussions for a reason, my man, and you fucking brought it, brother. I truly appreciate your presence, my man. Talking about the presence, you walk into a room and people are forced to level up. You know what I mean? It's like that's the aura that you need to bring every single time, but you do that in a very healthy way. Because when you approached me the first time I met you, it was like, oh, I saw what he brought. Oh, I saw the game that he brought. Oh, that makes me want to level up. And bro, that's a blessing to be able to pass on. It's not out of bitterness. It's not out of hate or nothing like that. It's genuine game. And that's why I value your presence and your time so much, brother.
I appreciate it. When you say presence, man, it's funny because I obviously, my DC, I run over 100 people, right? Days I'm out of the office or I'm in the office, I have, security in the front. And the minute I walk in the building, they're like, the Eagle has landed. It's like, they're like, dude, like, she's like, I'm watching cameras and it's just different. Just your presence in the building is different for what the people do. The minute you walk into DC, everyone's just moving around. Like they just scatter, right?
Yeah.
And then not only that, is like even in the films and when I do my weddings, I tell my clients, I'm not just your photographer, videographer. I'm going to coordinate. If things don't go right, I want to navigate. We're going to get through. And from all my events, they always say like, I have family members and the wedding planners and the venues. They come up and say, wow, your team is amazing. Your team is amazing. And it's just like owning that room and anybody you do. And that's key. You got to go all in. So presence is key, man.
Yeah.
Presence is very key and you got to leave a mark. And by leaving a mark, it's go do above and beyond. Because if you do the bare minimum and you only do what you're getting paid to do, you're always going to be at the bare minimum. Yeah. But when you go above and beyond and you take it to the next level, that's when you become that target of like, we need that person. Hey, we need to hire a unique frame. Hey, we need to get Thomas. Hey, are you going to be here? Yeah. They want your presence. They want your creativity. They want your leadership. They want your craftsmanship. They want that, right? And you got to deliver, man, and you got to give it to them. So,
oh, my brother, you left a mark on me, my man. You left a mark on the show, and I appreciate you so much, brother. Yeah. God bless you, my man.
All right, God bless you too, man. We out.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode. If you got a lot of value out of this, please do me a favor and support our channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Make sure to hit that follow button on Spotify to stay updated with our latest episodes. And if you are listening on Apple Podcast, I would greatly appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star rating, followed by with a review. Again, thank you all for the support. Stay loving, stay hungry, and stay excellent.